Welcome to Endless Love Stories. Before we jump into today's absolutely incredible true story, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and share this video because what happens next will leave you completely speechless. My name is Ashley, and I'm 27 years old. 3 months ago, my best friend of 15 years cut me from her wedding just 2 weeks before the ceremony, claiming I was too dramatic and would ruin her special day. What she didn't expect was that I would take back every single dollar I had spent on her wedding, which totaled over $8,000, and leave her scrambling to salvage what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Let me take you back to where this all started because this story is absolutely wild. My best friend Megan and I met in middle school and had been inseparable ever since. We went through high school together, college roommates, post-graduation struggles, career changes, breakups, makeups, and everything in between. She was like a sister to me, and I genuinely thought we would be friends for life. When Megan got engaged to her boyfriend Derek 2 years ago, I was over the moon for her. Derek seemed like a decent guy, though I always felt like he was a bit controlling and didn't really understand Megan's personality. But Megan was happy, so I was happy for her. She immediately asked me to be her maid of honor, and I was thrilled to help her plan the wedding of her dreams. Here's where things get interesting, and honestly, looking back, I should have seen the red flags earlier. Megan and Derek didn't have much money saved for their wedding. Derek worked at a small accounting firm and Megan was still paying off student loans from her teaching degree. They wanted this elaborate wedding with 200 guests, but their budget was barely enough for a courthouse ceremony. That's when I made what I now realize was a huge mistake. I offered to help them financially because I had been working as a software sales manager and had been saving money for years. I genuinely wanted Megan to have the wedding she dreamed of, and I thought that's what best friends do for each other. Over the course of 18 months, I paid for so many things that I lost track of the total amount until I went back through my bank statements later. I paid for Megan's wedding dress, which cost $2,200 because she fell in love with this designer gown that was way out of her budget. I covered the entire cost of the bridal shower, including venue rental, decorations, food, and drinks, which came to $1,800. I paid for all the bridesmaids' hair and makeup trials, the bachelorette party weekend in Nashville, the wedding flowers, and even contributed $1,500 toward the reception venue when they were short on their deposit. But it wasn't just the money. I spent countless hours helping with wedding planning, driving all over the state to look at venues, taste testing catering options, addressing hundreds of invitations by hand, and basically acting as Megan's unpaid wedding coordinator. I took vacation days from work to help with wedding tasks, and I even used my connections in the event planning industry to get her discounts on vendors. Throughout this entire process, Derek was becoming increasingly controlling and possessive of Megan. He didn't like that she had close friendships, especially with me, because he thought we were too close and that I had too much influence over her decisions. He would make snide comments about how much time Megan spent with me, and he constantly tried to exclude me from wedding planning decisions, even though I was literally paying for half the wedding. The tension came to a head 6 weeks before the wedding during the final dress fitting. Megan, myself, and the other bridesmaids were at the bridal shop when Derek showed up unexpectedly. He started complaining that Megan was spending too much time on wedding planning and not enough time with him. When I tried to lighten the mood by joking that we were almost done with all the planning, Derek snapped at me. "This is exactly the problem," Derek said, pointing at me. "You think this is your wedding. You're way too involved in everything, and Megan can't make a decision without asking your opinion first. It's like you think you're the one getting married." I was shocked by his outburst. But I tried to stay calm and explain that I was just trying to help as the maid of honor and that everything I was doing was at Megan's request. That's when Derek dropped a bomb that changed everything. Well, maybe Megan needs to learn to make her own decisions without you constantly interfering, he said. Maybe it's time she had a wedding that's about our relationship, not about her friendship with you. Megan just stood there in her wedding dress, saying nothing while Derek berated me in front of everyone. I was hurt and embarrassed, but I figured this was just pre-wedding stress and that things would calm down after Derek had time to cool off. 2 weeks before the wedding, Megan called me with news that absolutely shattered my heart. She said that she and Derek had been talking, and they decided that having me in the wedding was causing too much drama and stress. She said Derek felt like I was trying to control their wedding and that my presence was making him uncomfortable on what should be the happiest day of their lives. "I'm sorry, Ashley," Megan said, barely able to look me in the eye. "But I think it would be better if you just came as a regular guest instead of being in the wedding party. Derek and I need this day to be perfect, and there's just too much tension with you being so involved." I was stunned. After 15 years of friendship, after spending thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours helping plan her dream wedding, Megan was cutting me from the wedding party because her controlling fiancé didn't like that we were close friends. But then Megan said something that made my decision very easy. She asked if I could still help with some last-minute wedding tasks since, all the vendors and have all the contacts, but that I should try to keep a lower profile at the actual wedding so Derek wouldn't be upset. That's when I realized Megan didn't just want to cut me from the wedding party. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. She wanted to appease Derek by demoting me from maid of honor to regular guest, but she still wanted all the financial support and free labor I had been providing. I told Megan I needed some time to process this decision, and I hung up the phone. That's when I made a decision that would change both of our lives forever. I went through all my bank statements and credit card records and calculated exactly how much money I had spent on Megan's wedding. The total was $8,247. I called every single vendor that I had paid deposits to and canceled my payments. I contacted the dress shop and told them I would no longer be covering the cost of Megan's wedding dress. I canceled the flower order that I had paid for in full. I called the hair and makeup artists and canceled the services I had booked for the bridal party. I even contacted the reception venue and told them I was withdrawing my $1,500 contribution toward their deposit. But I didn't stop there. I also called all the vendors that I had helped Megan book through my industry connections and let them know that I would no longer be recommending their services or helping coordinate the wedding. Several of these vendors had given Megan significant discounts because of their relationship with me, and when they learned I was no longer involved, they reverted to their standard pricing. The phone calls from Megan started 2 days later, when vendors began reaching out to her about canceled payments and increased costs. She was hysterical, begging me to reconsider and claiming that she had never meant to hurt me. She insisted that cutting me from the wedding party was Derek's idea and that she had been pressured into it. "Ashley, please," Megan sobbed over the phone. "You can't do this to me. The wedding is in 12 days, and I can't afford to pay for all this stuff. You're my best friend. How can you abandon me like this?" I calmly explained to Megan that she had made her choice when she decided that appeasing Derek was more important than honoring our 15-year friendship. I told her that I wasn't abandoning her. She had abandoned me first by cutting me from her wedding after I had invested so much time, money, and energy into making her dreams come true. "You wanted Derek to be comfortable at your wedding," I said. "Well, now he can be comfortable paying for it too." Megan tried everything to get me to change my mind. She promised to reinstate me as maid of honor. She offered to disinvite Derek's groomsmen, who had been encouraging his controlling behavior. She even suggested postponing the wedding until we could work things out. But it was too late. She had shown me exactly where our friendship ranked in her priorities, and it wasn't high enough for me to continue supporting her financially. The wedding ended up being a disaster. Without my financial contributions, Megan and Derek couldn't afford most of the things they had planned. Megan had to buy a much cheaper dress off the rack. They had to cut their guest list in half because they couldn't afford the full reception, and they ended up with grocery store flowers instead of the elaborate arrangements I had ordered. But the real kicker was that 3 other bridesmaids quit the wedding party in solidarity with me when they learned what had happened. These were mutual friends who had watched me support Megan throughout the entire engagement, and they were disgusted by how she had treated me. So Megan ended up with only one bridesmaid, Derek's sister, who barely knew her. The wedding did happen, but it was nothing like the dream wedding Megan had planned. I heard from other guests that the atmosphere was tense, the reception was awkward, and Megan seemed stressed and unhappy throughout the entire day. Several people asked where I was, and when they learned what had happened, they were shocked that Megan would treat her best friend so poorly. But here's the most satisfying part of this story. 3 months after the wedding, Megan called me crying. Her marriage to Derek was already falling apart because his controlling behavior had gotten even worse after the wedding. He was isolating her from all her friends, monitoring her phone calls, and trying to control every aspect of her life. "You were right about Derek," Megan admitted through tears. "He is controlling, and he was jealous of our friendship because he knew you cared about me more than he did. I should have listened to you instead of choosing him over you." Megan begged me to forgive her and to help her figure out how to leave Derek. She said she realized that I had been the most loyal friend she'd ever had, and that she had thrown away the best relationship in her life for a man who didn't truly love her. But here's the thing about trust. Once it's broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild. I felt sorry for Megan's situation with Derek, and I gave her some resources for getting help leaving a controlling relationship. But I couldn't go back to being her best friend after she had shown me so clearly that our friendship was disposable when it became inconvenient. I told Megan that I hoped she would find the strength to leave Derek and build a better life for herself, but that our friendship had been damaged beyond repair. She had made a choice to prioritize a controlling man over a loyal friend, and that choice had consequences that couldn't be undone. Today, I'm doing amazing. I used the $8,000 I took back from Megan's wedding to take an incredible solo trip to Europe, where I had the time of my life and met some wonderful new friends. I've learned to be more careful about who I invest my time, energy, and money in, and I've built new friendships with people who value loyalty and mutual respect. Megan did eventually leave Derek after he cheated on her with a coworker, but their divorce was messy and expensive. She's tried to reconnect with me several times, but I've moved on with my life. I learned that sometimes the people we love most will disappoint us in ways we never imagined, and that's okay. It just means we make room for better people in our lives. The lesson here isn't about getting revenge on friends who betray you. It's about recognizing your own worth and not allowing people to take advantage of your generosity. When someone shows you that your friendship is conditional and disposable, believe them the first time and act accordingly. True friends don't ask you to sacrifice your dignity, your financial security, or your emotional well-being for their convenience. They don't allow their romantic partners to disrespect you, and they don't take your loyalty for granted. When someone treats your friendship as optional, make their access to your support optional too. That's our incredible story for today from Endless Love Stories. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and share this with someone who needs to hear about knowing their worth in friendships. Sometimes taking back what you've given is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. Until next time, Keep believing in endless love that respects and values you.